The story of Ayub, known as Job in the Bible, is one of the most profound lessons in patience, faith, and perseverance found in Scripture. Ayub was a man of great wealth, respected and admired for his righteousness and devotion to God. He lived a peaceful life, surrounded by blessings, large flocks, many servants, and a loving family. Yet, his unwavering faith was tested through a series of unimaginable hardships. Despite his suffering, Ayub remained steadfast in his belief that God's wisdom and mercy would prevail. His story teaches that true faith is not dependent on ease but endures even in pain. Righteous man blessed by God, Ayub was a man of exceptional moral character who lived a life full of gratitude and worship. He was blessed abundantly with wealth, livestock, a large family, and many servants. But beyond material prosperity, what truly set Ayub apart was his deep devotion to God. He consistently gave thanks, offered sacrifices, and cared for the needy. His life was a model of righteousness, humility, and generosity. God favored Ayub, not only for his outward actions but for his sincere heart. This phase of his life represents how spiritual success and material blessings can coexist in harmony when rooted in faith. Satan's challenge to God. Satan questioned the sincerity of Ayub's faith, claiming that Ayub only worshipped God because of his wealth and ease. He argued that if Ayub were stripped of his blessings, he would turn away from God. In response, God allowed Satan to test Ayub, knowing his servant's heart was pure. This divine permission was not punishment but a means to reveal Ayub's steadfast faith. It reminds us that trials may come not because we are weak in faith, but because we are strong. The heavenly discussion sets the stage for a powerful journey of endurance and spiritual resilience. Loss of wealth and property. Ayub's first test began with the sudden loss of all his wealth. Raiders stole his animals, his fields were destroyed, and his servants were killed. News after news reached him, each bearing devastation. His once prosperous life fell apart almost overnight. Yet, Ayub did not cry out in anger or blame God. Instead, he responded with submission, saying, "The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away, blessed be the name of the Lord." His reaction exemplifies unshakable trust in God. Ayub teaches that faith is not dependent on possessions and that spiritual wealth surpasses material security. Loss of his children. As Ayub reeled from the loss of his wealth, tragedy struck again. His children, all gathered in one house, were killed when a violent storm collapsed the building. The emotional blow was far deeper than any material loss. Losing all his children in a single moment would have broken most hearts, yet Ayub continued to express faith in God's will. He did not rebel or curse his fate. His patience in the face of such sorrow is nearly unimaginable. Ayub's steadfastness teaches us that even in the deepest grief, turning to God can provide strength and hope. Struck with painful disease, as if the loss of family and wealth weren't enough, Ayub was then afflicted with a painful and disfiguring disease. His body became covered in sores, and he was cast out by society. Once admired and respected, he was now avoided and shunned. Even his closest friends distanced themselves from him. Despite his suffering and isolation, Ayub never cursed God. Instead, he endured his illness with grace and patience, continuing to pray and reflect. This test of physical agony shows that true faith is not conditional upon comfort, and that even in pain, one can find spiritual strength. Patience in suffering. Throughout all his trials, Ayub's patience remained firm. He did not complain or question God's justice. He refused to curse his Creator or abandon his worship. His endurance wasn't passive, it was active faith, choosing trust over bitterness. Ayub's patience, is so exemplary that it became a symbol across generations. He reminds us that suffering does not mean we are forgotten by God, but that it can be a path to purification and deeper connection. His story calls us to hold on to hope even when life seems unbearable, and to remember that God sees and rewards our steadfastness. Support of his wife. Ayub's wife remained by his side through every trial. Though they had once lived in comfort, she now cared for him in poverty and illness, often working to provide their daily needs. Despite the overwhelming suffering, she stayed loyal and compassionate, embodying love, patience, and perseverance. At one point, in desperation, she pleaded for Ayub to ask God for relief, but Ayub reminded her to remain steadfast. Her devotion highlights the importance of standing by loved ones in hardship. Their relationship exemplifies true companionship, not just in joy, but in the depths of despair and difficulty. Ayub's humble prayer. After enduring prolonged suffering, Ayub finally turned to God with a humble and heartfelt prayer. He said, "Indeed, adversity has touched me, and you are the most merciful of the merciful." He did not demand healing or justice, but acknowledged his pain while trusting in God's mercy. This short but profound prayer reflected both vulnerability and unwavering faith. In that moment, he didn't complain but gently submitted his suffering before the divine. His supplication reminds us that even in our darkest moments, a sincere prayer, rooted in humility, can open the door to divine mercy and healing. God heals and restores him. God, pleased with Ayub's patience and unwavering faith, answered his prayer. He instructed Ayub to strike the ground with his foot, and from it flowed healing water. Ayub bathed in it and was miraculously cured. Not only was his health restored, but so were his wealth, home, and family, many times over. His wife was blessed as well, and they resumed their life with even greater grace. This divine restoration wasn't merely a reward, but a testimony that God never abandons the faithful. Ayub's story shows that after every hardship, with faith, comes ease beyond what one could imagine. Ayub's legacy of patience. Ayub's story became a timeless symbol of patience and devotion across faiths. His name is invoked whenever someone faces intense suffering with endurance. His life proves that suffering doesn't mean disfavor with God, but can be a form of spiritual elevation. Ayub teaches us that faith is not proven by prosperity, but by persistence in adversity. His trials, patience, prayer, and ultimate reward form a complete journey of the human soul under divine guidance. His legacy continues to inspire millions to hold fast to hope, rely on prayer, and trust in the wisdom and mercy of God in every trial.